Hi, and welcome back to my kitchen. Well, actually, this isn't my kitchen. I'm in a kitchen in Big Bear. My church invited me to cook for our youth camp retreat, and I gladly jumped at the chance. Today we're going to talk about cooking something that some of you might think is one of the easiest things to cook, a soft-boiled egg. Actually, cooking a soft-boiled egg is a little more technical than some people think, at least to make it come out consistently. So that's what we'll be talking about today. And I remember my exposure, or my first exposure to soft-boiled eggs, and that was from my grandmother. And my granny was a proper English woman, always dressing for breakfast, and she loved her soft-boiled egg. She would have it served in a little egg cup similar to this, and she'd eat it with a bone spoon, and those bone spoons intrigued me, and she actually gave them to me. Unfortunately, in one of my many moves, I must have lost them because I haven't seen them in some time. Maybe someday I'll find them again. But my grandmother was my first exposure to soft-boiled eggs and my first exposure to cooking soft-boiled eggs. And she showed me how she did it. She'd take a saucepan like this, she'd put an egg in it, cover it with cold water, put it on the stove, turn on the stove, let the water boil, and then turn on her timer for 3 minutes. And it was called a 3-minute egg. Unfortunately, that did not always make the perfect egg consistently. And when you're cooking for people or for a lot of people over a period of time, what you need to do is make consistent results. So the technique we're going to use tonight hopefully will give us that consistent result that we need. So many cookbooks have a recipe or instructions on making a soft-boiled egg. My favorite author is Jacques Pepin, and this is his book, Jacques Pepin's Table. It has instructions in here on how to make a soft-boiled egg, and if you follow them, hopefully you get a perfect egg. If this one doesn't come out right, we'll blame Jacques because I'm using his technique. So what do we need? We need a saucepan, of course, a fairly good-sized one, or a good heavy-duty one. We need an egg, of course, because we're boiling an egg. We need a sieve, which I'll show you in a minute when we pull the egg out of what's already cooking behind me. And we also need a stove, and of course we need a timer, which I'm using my timer on my phone. And also we need water to boil, because you can't have a boiled egg without water. So what do? First, you want to make sure your egg's not cracked, and you can do that by looking at it. There's no cracks on it. If you're concerned about it, you can take the big end and you can tap it with your fingernail right next to your ear. If it's solid sounding and clear sounding, that means it's probably not cracked. If it's got muffling and it's not really clear and a good thud, then you'll have a cracked egg. You don't want to use that. The water will seep in, and you'll get a mushy egg at the end, and it won't be, the white of the egg won't be all gelled up like it's supposed to. So, as you see behind me, I've got an egg going. There's an egg in a sieve in the hot boiling water like we were talking about. But if I was going to start from the beginning, as I can't because we don't have enough time, we would take and we'd put enough water in our saucepan to cover however many eggs we're going to be cooking. We put our eggs in the sieve, but we put the water on the stove to boil. Once that water is boiling, then we put the eggs in the water with the sieve and let it cook for 4.5 minutes. Some people worry about salmonella because they're cooking an egg that's not cooked completely. And because we're boiling this for 4 minutes, that is going to raise the temperature of the egg up to 140, 150 degrees and kill any salmonella. So we don't have to worry about it. Once the egg has cooked for 4.5 minutes, though, you want to pull it out. You want to get it out of the heat, because if you don't, it's going to overcook and you're not going to have a soft-boiled egg. Once you pull it out, then, of course, whoop, and there's my timer, so I better pull it out just where we were in our timer, and we're going to put it, either run it under cold water, or we can take it and put it in a bowl of cold water to cool it down, shock it as they call it, and that will stop it from cooking. If you skip that step, the egg will continue to cook and you won't have a soft-boiled egg. So now we've cooked our egg. Let's take a look and see if Jacques Pepin's method works. We're going to crack open the top. This is how my grandmother actually taught me to crack open the egg. I don't peel this egg. I crack it all the way around the top. I pop the top off, and there we have what is basically a perfect soft-boiled egg. You can see the yolk isn't runny too much, but it is still soft. So enjoy soft-boiled eggs. Or as Julia Child used to say, bon appetit.